Tell them go ahead. So
a lot of times, I guess the popular notion of some owner operators and some small fleet owners, is their truck won't move for a certain amount per mile. I remember years ago when I first started out in ownership, older owner operator tried to impart a little bit of wisdom on me, and he told me, hey man, he told me his truck won't move for less than $2.50 a mile or $2 a mile. I subscribed to that idea for a little while until two things started happening. And number one was my run started, getting cut short. And the frequency of them giving me loads was going way down. There was a load going to Kansas City, and it was I guess it was like dirty used water that come from a trap. I mean, really bad smelling stuff. Smelled like a dozen rotten eggs that's been left out in the middle of summer. It was worse than that, actually. They had to move that load, and it was going for a ridiculously low amount. I think it was about 78 cents a mile. Well, we were normally getting $1.80 to $2 a mile, sometimes $2.50 a mile. This load was being moved for 78 cents a mile. We were all standing around the terminal, and one by one, these guys were turning that load down. And mainly for two reasons, because it was 78 cents a mile. Another is that it smelled horrible. And the same owner operators, they kept saying the same exact thing. Is, hey man, I'm not moving that thing. I don't move nothing for under $1.50 a mile, $2 a mile. I had to think about it. We're talking about supply and demand. They needed that load moved. They needed it moved really bad. So what I did, I went in and I talked with the dispatcher who was handling that load. And me and him had a really thorough, discussion about me moving that load, and then him hooking me up later on, once I got done in Kansas City. So he agreed. He told me if I helped him out, did him that favor, and move that load for him, get it on over to Kansas, he would really hook me up, on the return trip. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and do it, reluctantly though. All right, long story short, I got to Kansas. All right, I got there too late. 2.5 days to get it there. Now I had to sit for the entire weekend. I sat on that load till Monday. I got the load off. I had to drive another, I don't know, I think it was 150, maybe 200 miles to Oklahoma City to get the tank washed out. So I got down to Texas. And once I got to Texas, I had to sit another 2.5 days. So now, some animosity built up, all right? So finally, at the end of the second day, he called me and he told me, first thing he said was, hey man, he's sorry for not being able to reach me. And another thing he told me to go into the terminal in Fort Worth, Texas. And he said to talk to the two guys in there. Two guys that ran that terminal. So I walked in the office, and the first thing they did, they shook my hand, patted me on the back, and they said, thanks for doing that favor for our guy. I tell you what, they put so many loads on me. They ran me so hard, all through Texas, all back to Georgia. And by the time I got back to California, I cleared maybe $20,000 for that month. Well, not cleared, I grossed a little over $21,000 for the month. I tell you what, after that, anytime that guy needed a favor, I did not even ask the rate. I didn't ask where it was going. I just did his loads, and this guy hooked me up continuously. it's cool to not settle for cheap rates, but sometimes you have to understand and you have to know that when you're going into a small fleet situation, I hate to say it, man, but the rate that they charge almost comes third to moving that freight, making sure that these customers are taken care of. Your mindset has to elevate to the thinking of what am I going to make this week or next week to, hey man, what am I going to make monthly? What am I going to make yearly? You know, it just naturally does that. And if you don't understand that the movement of freight is of paramount importance, you're gonna lose your fleet. You're gonna lose your small fleet, one truck at a time, because you're gonna turn down loads, and these people need that freight moved, and they will get very vindictive with you, and hey man, they'll put together a plan to destroy your fleet, man, one by one truck after another. You're gonna be one of those statistics that are out there talking about, hey man, a small fleet don't work, and you're gonna start warning people not to build a small fleet. I'm telling you right now, a small fleet works if you do it the right way, and you got to understand you have to be in the freight moving business. You have to be there to move freight. Negotiate the rates, negotiate good rates, and then sometimes, man, look for those opportunities to do a favor. That's what I constantly do. I look to do more favors than anything else, because those favors need to be paid back someday. Take this advice to heart, man, and utilize it, man, because these things have worked for me in the past. They work for me now, and they're going to keep working even in the future. So once again, see you guys in the next video. This is Mike, man.